Good morning, or depending when you're listening to this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told I had a voice for radio, so today I'm showing you another game that I recorded live at a local league challenge. This one comes from Athena Games in Norwich, a truly lovely venue. Those in the UK should check it out immediately, if not sooner. And it happened in October of 2015 in the standard format, which means we are using any cards from the X and Y set, all the way through to and including Ancient Origins. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so round 3 we've got Bradley Bartlett. He is on the right. He is going to be playing Goodra, more on him in a minute. And on the left we've got Tom Goodson, and he's going to be playing Manectric bats. Now, in the previous video, and spoiler alert, you should have watched it by now. If you haven't, go back and watch it. I'm about to spoil it. In the previous video, we saw an unusual deck. We saw a Bennett deck coming around. And although it wasn't the most competitive of games, it was fun to be able to talk about a deck we don't see very often. Now, I don't know whether this is going to be a competitive game or not. I was playing in this tournament. I haven't watched these videos back yet. I'm watching these for the first time. But what I can tell you is that Brad's deck is very unusual. It's a deck we don't see very often. So yeah, it's quite fun. I like seeing these unusual decks, and I like being able to talk about them. So competitive or not, this is a video you're going to want to watch. We see a Goomy going down, and Goomy has got an interesting ability. Now, it's only got 40 HP, and that might be a problem, especially with Manectric's overrun doing 20 to the active, 20 to the bench. But Goomy has an ability where if you attach a water energy, you get to search your deck for another Goomy and put it on the bench, which is, it's a fun little ability. It allows you to get your Goomies out much more quickly than you may otherwise do. So what does this Goodra actually do? Well, it's got one attack which does 110 for 4 energy, 2 coloured and a double colourless, and stops special conditions the following turn, and a first attack which is more likely to be used. Now that is a Team Aqua's hideout, which raises the retreat cost of all non-Team Aqua Pokemon by 1. Now, Goodra's good attack, for a double colourless energy, you pick any Pokemon on the field, and on your opponent's side of the field, and it does 20 damage to that Pokemon for every one of its retreat cost. So a 1 retreat cost Manectric, it would do 20 damage for a double colourless. But now you've played a Team Aqua's hideout, the retreat cost of each Manectric is 2, which means you're doing 40 damage for a double colourless. Given that Manectric has a standard retreat cost of 1 and Mega Manectric has a standard retreat cost of 0, I do worry about Brad's ability here to do enough damage. And we see here a double Dragon Energy coming down. As soon as you attach it to a Goomy, it counts as a water energy. There's nothing in the ability which specifies that it must be a basic water energy. Therefore, it totally counts. He gets to go and grab himself a Goomy, which is quite a funky. He's got 3 out on turn 1, but he is going to need some evolutions on turn 2. All Tom is going to need is a muscle band and an energy, and he's got a KO, and he's half killed another one. Oh, and that's mean from Tom there. Down comes an Enhanced Hammer, takes the energy off the Goomy, gets a Zubat down, and oh, there's a level ball for a second Zubat coming down. This is a wonderful start. The only thing Tom really needs here is just to be able to get a muscle band, and he is absolutely rolling. Now this is round 3, and we picked this game because these guys are both 2-0, and Brad's playing a very exciting deck, or very interesting deck at the very least. I love seeing unusual decks. They make me happy. They make me think, which is good. Before I recorded this game, I had to actually flick forward in the game a bit to see which Goodra he was using, and then I had to just call up scans of the Goomy and the Goodra just to double check what they did. I like that. It's cool to have to think about cards you haven't thought about in a while. So he's got a trainer's mail there, which he's going to want to use to try and grab a muscle band if he doesn't already have one. Doesn't look like there is one there. He's gone and got a Silent Lab though, which is going to get rid of Team Aqua's hideout, which of course is huge because Zubat's got a retreat cost of 1. With the Team Aqua's hideout on the field, that gives Zubat a retreat cost of 2 and allows Goodra to get a 1-hit KO, but not with Silent Lab out. It also turns off Goomy's ability And okay, there's only potentially one more to get from the deck, assuming it's not prized, but it's still interesting. It's not a huge advantage for Tom, but it is still an advantage for Tom. So, let's at least, enjoy that. So we see Professor Birch, that's ahead, so he's getting 7 cards, not 4, and you saw there the very first card that came out was a Muscle Band. Now, was that a Crobat or a Golbat? I couldn't quite see. But the Muscle Band means that active Goomy is going down, and we're getting 20 damage on one of the benched, which means it's going to be down to 20 HP, and it can be killed either from the residual damage from Manectric's Overrun, because it does 20 to the bench as well, or just by dropping a Golbat, which, mid-turn prizes are absolutely awesome. So he does put it in the active, he kind of has to, and he gets whatever the stage 1 is called. I do not look at these Pokemon enough. And here's an interesting thing we very rarely see, I don't know if I've ever seen this in a game before, using Wally to evolve to a stage 2. How cool is that? Now, the ruling is it's got to be down for a turn to evolve. So you can't Wally into a stage 1 and then immediately stage 2 it. But of course, Wally just allows you to evolve a Pokemon that's already down, even if it hasn't been down for a turn. So he's evolving into the stage 1 when he's allowed to, and then immediately Wallying into the Goodra. It's Sliggoo, the stage 1, which can paralyze for 1 energy on a coin flip, or for a double dragon it does 20. Unfortunately, with no Team Aqua's hideout down, he doesn't even get a KO on the Zubat. So going into Tom's second turn, you don't see how Tom's going to win this game. And he's got the Ultra Ball. That means he's going to be able to get a Golbat. Now, even if he's got a second energy, Manectric's attack only does 60, which goes up to 80 with the Muscle Band. With the 20 from Golbat, puts him on 140, and that's not actually enough because Goodra's got 150 HP. So for the time being, that Goodra is going to survive. But of course, when you're playing a deck that does 20 to the bench and is playing bats, it's probably not going to survive to the end of Tom's turn. Tom is probably going to get the KO. And given that all we've actually got active from Brad there is a Sliggoo, there is a very decent chance that Tom wins the game next turn. Brad's going to need to get some stuff out here. Tom's not going to get a KO. Well, he needs a second energy, first of all, although it looks like he's just... No, there goes the Golbat. I think I saw a second energy. Yes, he has. He's got an energy in hand. He's going to put the Goodra down to 10 HP. And which means that on his... Brad needs to bench some Pokemon here or it's going to be over. As a little side note here, it looks like Brad's playing 4 double colourless, 4 double dragon, so his deck is going to be really vulnerable to cards like Xerosic and Enhanced Hammer. And we see a Super Scoop Up coming down here. Oh no, it's still not going to do enough. I miscounted previously. With the second Golbat, he goes up to 60. With the 80, he's still not getting the KO. There would be an argument that Tom should have done the Golbat damage on the benched Pokemon, because then he could have done 30 with the Crobat, which still would have got a KO. However, instead now, Tom gets the KO from the Crobat or the Golbat, whereas if he'd used the Golbat to hit the bench, he'd need a Crobat to get the KO on the Goodra. I suppose it comes down to a choice thing there. If he gets the KO of a Crobat, he's potentially wasted that second Crobat, a Golbat, but he's not in any danger here. Sliggoo's got 70 HP. We know Manectric's doing 80 damage. So, yeah, that's game, unfortunately. As long as he can get the Zubat out of the active, there's a switch, and that's game, ladies and gentlemen. So, second round in a row that we have seen an interesting deck, which just hasn't been able to hold up to a metagame deck, which is proven to be good. I still wanted to show you this game, though. We don't get a chance to talk about Goodra very often, and I wanted to do so today. So we had quite a competitive first round. well, we had an interesting first round. Rounds 2 and 3, we've seen good decks, fun decks, decks what are good. But unfortunately, nothing more than that, which is disappointing. But hey-ho, we've had a chat about good decks, and they've been nice short videos, so, you know, I do what I can. Rounds 4 and 5 are coming up very shortly, ladies and gentlemen, so look out for them. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I'll be back with rounds 4 and 5 very shortly. Look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.